Welcome to Testing Career Manual session. Today we are going to see the second topic, that is SDLC. What is SDLC? SDLC stands for Software Development Lifecycle. SDLC is a framework defining tasks performed at each step in the software development process. SDLC is a structure followed by a development team within the software organization, and it consists of a detailed plan describing how to develop, maintain, and replace the specific software. The lifecycle defines a methodology for improving the quality of application and the overall development processes. SDLC is nothing but it is software development lifecycle, and it is a framework which contains a detailed description of software lifecycle, that is from starting to ending, that is collecting the requirement from the client and delivering the product to the client. In between we have to perform some operations, that is coding, testing, design, release and maintenance. All these operations will be involved in SDLC, and it having some phases to perform all the operations step by step. Let's see the phases of SDLC. These are all the phases of SDLC. First phase is requirement collection, and the second phase is requirement analysis. Third phase is design phase. Fourth phase is coding phase. Fifth phase is testing phase, and the last phase is release and maintenance. Let's see one by one. First phase, requirement collection. Requirement collection is the first phase of SDLC. In this phase, BA team will interact with the client to collect the information about the requirement, and they will prepare the document called as BRS, Business Requirement Specification. In this phase, business analyst team will interact with the client. After interacting, they will collect the information about the requirement, and after that they will create a document that is called as BRS, Business Requirement Specification, and it is also called as SRS, that is Software Requirement Specification. Once the document has been prepared, they will distribute the document to other departments. After completing this process, they will perform feasibility study. That is, first they will check finance feasibility, that is the cost and budget of the application is fine or not. And the second feasibility study is time feasibility. While interacting with the client, they will give some specification, some specified time to complete the application, so they will check the time feasibility for the application. And the last feasibility is software applicable in order to develop. They will check whether the software is applicable in order to develop or not. These things will be performed by business analyst team during requirement collection phase. And the next phase is requirement analysis phase. In this phase, SA team will analyze the requirement from BRS to prepare a document called FRS, that is Functional Requirement Specification. That is, in this phase, SA team will go through and analyze the requirement from the requirement document called as BRS, Business Requirement Specification, that is prepared by BA team. After analyzing the requirement, SA team will prepare a document called FRS, Functional Requirement Specification. This document will contain the detailed description of all the functionalities of each component of the project. And the next phase is design phase. The next stage of SDLC is design phase. During the design phase, GA team, developers and technical teams start the high-level design of the software and system to be able to deliver each requirement. That is, in design phase, DA team, developers and technical teams start in designing the screenshot, attachments and any images for the application, which gives the detailed idea of how the application should be, which is helpful for future use. Based on the design, the developer team will develop the application. And the next phase is coding. On receiving the system design documents, the work is divided into modules or units, and the actual coding is started. Since in this phase the code is produced, so it is the main focus for the developer. This is the longest phase of SDLC. In coding phase, the development team will be involved in developing the application. The developer will start to write the coding based on some languages like Java, PHP, Python and etc. And they will create modules as per the customer requirement. And after completing the design process, the application will be moved for further testing. And the next phase is testing. After the code is developed, it is tested against the requirement to make sure that the product is actually solving the needs addressed and gathering during the requirement phase. During this phase, all types of functional testing like unit testing, integration testing, system testing, acceptance testing are done, as well as non-functionality testing also done. That is, in this phase, testing team will be involved in testing the application and identify the mistakes and errors, and reporting those defects to the development team. Once the development team fix the defect, they will perform, that is, testing team will perform regression testing. After completing all process, if the application does not contain any bug and errors, the testing team will deliver the application to the customer or client. And the last phase is release and maintenance. Release. The release phase of the software development lifecycle is traditionally associated with the production, deployment and post-production activities, which generally include maintenance and support of the software that has been developed. Once completing the development process and testing process, the application will be delivered to the client or customer. If the customer is satisfied with the application and if it meets the customer requirement, then the application will be released and will be used by the end user, that is, by the user. And the next phase is maintenance. Once when the customer start using the developed system, then the actual problem comes up and needs to be solved from time to time. This process where the care is taken for the developed product is known as maintenance. Maintenance phase is used to maintain the application as defect free. During production environment, if any defect is found or customer wants to add any new feature, then they will inform us to add those features by raising a document called CR, that is change request. Those will be performed and fixed by technical team, that is called as maintenance. These are all the phases of SDLC. Now we will see the interview questions for today's topic. These are all the interview questions for today's topic. First question is, what is SDLC? SDLC stands for Software Development Lifecycle. It is a framework which contains the detailed description of software development lifecycle. And the next question is, what is the purpose of SDLC? SDLC is required in order to have a systematic planned approach to build a software application for the client. So that reason we are using SDLC. And the next question is, what are all the phases of SDLC? We have seen the phases, that is requirement analysis and requirement collection, design phase, testing phase, coding phase, and the last phase is release and maintenance. These are all the phases of SDLC. And the next question is, what is requirement collection and requirement analysis? Requirement collection is to collect the requirement from the client and making a document that is called as BRS, that is called as requirement collection. And in requirement analysis phase, the document, that is BRS document, in requirement analysis phase, SA team will analyze the requirement from BRS document and they will create a document that is called as FRS, functional requirement document. And the next question is, what is BRS or SRS? BRS stands for Business Requirement Specification and SRS stands for Software Requirement Specification. Both are same only, which contain a detailed description about the entire project. And the next question is, what are all the feasibility study done by BA team? BA team will perform 3 feasibility study. First one is finance feasibility, and the second one is time feasibility, and the last one is software is applicable in order to develop or not. And the next question is, what is FRS? FRS stands for Functional Requirement Specification, which gives the detailed description about all the functionality of each component of the project. And the next question is difference between SRS and FRS. Now we will see the difference between SRS and FRS. The first difference is SRS stands for Software Requirement Specification and FRS stands for Functional Requirement Specification, and SRS also called as BRS. And the second difference is SRS contains the detailed description about the entire project, and FRS contains detailed description about all the functionalities of each component in the project. SRS is a non-functionality document and FRS is a functionality document. And the next question is, what is design phase? In design phase, design team will be involved in creating, that is in designing the attachment and screenshot which will be used for future use to develop the application. And the next question is, what is coding phase? In coding phase, development team will be involved in develop the application by writing some coding by using some languages called Java, PHP, Python, etc. And the next question is, what is testing phase? In testing phase, testing team will be involved in testing the application and making the application is defect free and deliver the quality product to the client. And the next question is, why do we perform testing? We are performing testing to identify the defects, mistakes and problems and reporting the defects to the development team and making the application as defect free. So that reason we are performing testing. And the last question is, what is release and maintenance? Release is to release the product if the customer is satisfied with the application, and the maintenance is to maintain if any problem occurs during the production environment. That is called as release and maintenance. These are all about the interview questions for today's topic, and we will see the next topic in the next session. And don't forget to subscribe for more videos. Thanks for watching.